first time you met Garrett Wilson or watched him work out?
I was watching Matthew Baldwin. So I went down to watch Matthew throw, and I see this wide receiver drill going on. And I see a wide receiver drill a guy and then drive, I told his dad the story, drive a guy into one of the trees and just start yelling and barking at him. And I said, who is this kid? I said, that's Garrett Wilson. I said, that's Garrett Wilson, the one who grew up in Dublin? They said, yeah. And then from then on, I just followed him really, really closely. Studied his film, got to know, Hank Carter down there is one of the more talented coaches in all of America. He had nothing but great things to say about him. And then his film spoke for itself. As talented a young man as I've been around in terms of ball skills, speed, changing direction. I mean, he could be a Division I basketball player if he wanted to be, but even a better young man. The way he handles himself is with class, and that's because they have such a great family.
You touched on his family and Harry Miller's family. I know you were involved recruiting both of them.
Right.
Could you have kept this class together, kept the number of commits you had without those two sort of leading the way?
I don't know, but what a statement about who they are, and it goes back to relationships. Anytime you're in recruiting, it comes back to the relationships and the trust that you have, and they had a big part of this, but there was a lot of people that were involved in it. We had some great families in this past weekend, the Jacobys, the Potters, great people from Ohio, the Stover families. I mean, being able to go through and sit in everyone's house and get a feel for who these people are, it's been a really great experience. One story that I share sometimes is, Saturday when we were in New York City, we were in downtown Times Square, and there were people everywhere. I mean, thousands and thousands of people, and we're in the busiest place in all of the world. And the next morning, we drove up to see Kate Stover and his family, and I was on his farm with not a person to be seen, taking a picture with his pet pig, Ronnie. And it was like the most extreme, New York City, and then up on the farm, taking a picture with a pig. So that's been kind of my last 2 weeks.
Front row left, Steve.
From the moment you got off the podium at your introductory press conference, what was the next 48 hours of your life like?
A blur. Yeah. Every moment I had, I was on my phone trying to make calls. There was a lot of work to be done. Still a ton of work to be done. But in that period, trying to make up, I guess, for lost time, for lack of a better term. And it's just been nonstop since then. You and Chris Holtmann kind of have some similarities as far as both of you are replacing coaches that, for the most part, probably the two most successful coaches out there in individual sports. Have you had any conversations with him about his experience during his first year and how you may approach things? Yeah, Coach sent me a text message. I've gone back and forth a little bit, and actually my wife and his wife had an opportunity to meet this past week and kind of discuss what it is like and some of the things moving forward as a wife of a head coach in basketball and football here. So look forward to spending some more time with him. And lastly, obviously signing day for 2019 class, but have you started at all looking forward to the 2020 class, which will be your first initial class as head coach? Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a big one for us, and then obviously I think looking ahead, there's probably going to be more guys signed in that class. So, we got work to do there, but off to a good start.
Front row right, Bill.
Could you describe what you think you're getting as a player in Zach Harrison? How good is he potentially? Yeah, I mean, when you look at somebody who runs a 10-8 100-meter dash at his size, in the potential that he has, it's you can just, all you think of is the Bosa's of the world and some of the top defensive ends in all of America, and he thought this thing through. This wasn't something he just jumped to, and obviously being under Larry's tutelage, that's a big part of this thing, and so it isn't all going to happen at once, but the ceiling for Zach is really, really high. As we know, he did recruiting on his terms. He was very precise in how he wanted to do it. How important was it to win that battle, considering you are a new coach, considering that the two programs in competition were who they were, and you were considered to be behind at the time? How important was it? Huge. Like any time you're competing for recruits. You're competing on the field, and this was one of those ones we had to win. He's down the street, and so that was a big get for us.
Second row left, Ari.
Ryan, when you are in this 2-week transition period right before signing day, I think a lot of people thought that you might want to add a bunch of kids. But how important was it, how much of an emphasis was it for you to just keep the class intact? I know you guys lost a few, but was that kind of just like the main focus in this last few weeks? Keep what we have intact, go from there, and how do you think you did?
Well, a couple things. One, we only have so many spots. You know, it was 14 today and really don't have many more. So that was the first thing. The second thing was that the kids that we have, we love. We love these kids. You know, we think the quality of the guys that we've signed here is excellent. So we wanted to keep them all, and so that was really important for us. But when you look at who these kids are, you know, in the last 7 months and their loyalty, it's amazing. You know, what happened in August, and then, you know, there's a coaching change here down the stretch, and these kids stuck with us. That means a lot to us, and we're not going to forget that moving forward.
This is only the second year of the early signing period, but you know, a large portion of the best players in the country are now signed today. You guys, kind of doing the math for you a little bit, I think might take 6, 7 more, depending on how things shake out. Is it a unique situation for you guys to be so active in that last 3 months, needing to fill out this class? And how do you kind of approach that when so many of the kids that are quote-unquote Ohio State caliber have already signed somewhere else?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that high. Yeah, I don't think it'll be that high. You know, we have to stay under 85, and like we said, we're only graduating, you know, a small class of seniors, and 3 guys have declared, so there isn't going to be that much room. And we want to make sure that we sign the right guys moving forward. You know, don't just want to take a guy down the stretch just to say we took a guy. I mean, this is Ohio State, and we want to recruit the best players in the country. But that being said, you know, we're going to do a really good job of identifying who's out there in January and evaluate them. That'll be really important here, because I think that's a huge part of that. You know, you go back and you look at last year. You know, guys like Chris Olave maybe weren't the highest recruited guys in the world, but, you know, come in and as a starter and had a major impact this season. So we've got to do a great job evaluating in January.
When you talk about your offensive line, just quick follow-up. If Michael Jordan goes pro, you guys will have 11. It looks like you might need 2 or 3 more. Can you just talk about the state of offensive line recruiting? Can you evaluate the way Greg Studrawa has done this, and how much of an emphasis is that going to be in the last few weeks of this recruiting cycle?
Yeah, it's going to be. It's important to go identify them. You know, we got to do a really good job. Obviously, in the 2020 class, you know, we're a little bit down in the O-line, so you know, we got to do a great job moving forward to get that addressed. You know, we're hoping Mike stays. Obviously, that'll be a huge part of this next year. And so into January, we'll keep looking at it. You know, we have a few guys obviously that we're close with, and so we'll just look to close those guys out.
Second row right, Tony.
Ryan, Marcus Crowley. You had 2 running guys committed for a while. One, I don't know if you guys decided to look elsewhere, or he decided to look elsewhere, but why Marcus Crowley, and what kind of process went to seemingly being off the radar to a week later he's a Buckeye? And what have you seen in it?
Yeah, comes from a great program. You know, Sean Wade, Treek Johnson both come from the same high school. Much respect for all the coaches there and what they do with their program. So that was the first thing. Second thing, you know, he was a Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Florida. We're not saying something. He had a great year. He's a big back. We think he's got great potential. He's going to come in mid-year. And so, you know, when he became up on the radar, especially after having the season that he had, we jumped all over him. We're really excited about him.
Ryan Sneed, is he going to be, is he eligible to play in the bowl game? Will he be with you guys?
Yeah, I don't have an update on him right now, and when I'll do, I'll let you know.
Third row right, Bill.
Coach, I mean, obviously it's important at all positions, but how does recruiting